Jacqueline, thanks so much for joining us today. I'm Carol Jenkins. The program is Black America. It is my pleasure to welcome Jacqueline Woodson, the author of some 24 books for young people. I may be underestimating that. It could be 36. In fact, she is the National Ambassador for Young People at the Library of Congress, the Poetry Foundation's Young People's Poet Laureate, the winner in 2014 of the National Book Award for her memoir, Brown Girl Dreaming, and author of the NBA finalist for adult fiction, Another Brooklyn, which I could not put down. And welcome so much, Jackie Woodson. We finally got you.
Yay.
We've been efforting this ever since the show went on the air, but you're such a busy woman winning all of these awards everywhere. Everywhere. I want you to know that Another Brooklyn was just such a beautiful, beautiful book.
Thank you.
Yeah. And so that's the foray into adult fiction. I mean, you've been doing all of these books and won millions of awards for, again, exaggerating only slightly, for your writing for young people. But tell me just a little bit about that, why and how that happened.
How I came to write Another Brooklyn.
Right.
So I had written an adult book called Autobiography of a Family Photo back in the 90s. And that was after writing, I don't know, maybe 10 young adult middle grade picture books. And I thought, let me just try this since I've done everything else. And it had some traction. It did fine. But I love the world of children's books so much more. I mean, it's such a community. I have so many friends who are doing the same thing. There's a way in which we really support each other that I didn't find in the world of adult books at that time. And so I did my thing, and then I ran screaming back to young people's literature. And then after I won the National Book Award for Brown Girl Dreaming, I thought I just want to take a break and do something different. And I had these 4 girls in my head for many, many years, and began to tell the story of Another Brooklyn.
Right. And it is, as you said, you wanted to explore what it is to grow up girl in this country.
Yes.
And what was your conclusion after?
I think,
even though it has its positives, it's a challenging...
It's a journey. I mean, I think it's a journey, and it's a journey for young women across lines of race, across lines of class, and I think I really saw that in the response I got from the book from so many different women about walking through the world, identifying as female or looking female, and just how that can't be hidden in any way, and the vulnerability that comes with that, and also the power. So it was definitely a journey to write it, and a journey to kind of live through it, remembering my own self as a young person, seeing my daughter as a young person, and hearing the stories of other young people and women. Yeah,
and Brooklyn too, right?
Yeah, well,
exploring Brooklyn.
Yeah, so Another Brooklyn takes place in Bushwick, which is where I grew up. And when I grew up, it was the way it is in the book. All of Bushwick in the book is nonfiction. You know, I either went back and researched it or wrote it from memory. And I wanted to write a biography of Bushwick because Bushwick was suddenly getting quote unquote discovered.
Yes, very gentrified.
Yeah, and I wasn't feeling the Columbusing of a neighborhood that had belonged to people. You know, before us, it was the Lenape, you know, it was the native people, and then it was Irish and German and Polish, and then it was Black and Latino. But then people came in and said, well, we've discovered Bushwick. And it's like, no, people lived here and thrived here before you got here. And I wanted to put that history down on the page.
Well, and very successfully.
Thank you.
What I love about your writing is that you, even though these are novels for young children and young adults and for adults, it's more poetry than it is prose. Everything is a poem. In fact, the New York Times has said about your work is that these are the poems we should, commit to memory and recite, in one of your glowing reviews. Do you consider yourself a poet more than a prose writer?
I have a lot of poet friends, and I love poetry, and I have a deep respect of poetry, and I think my writing is very poetic, and people have called me poet. I don't know. It's funny because I think having grown up so afraid of poetry and so feeling like it was this secret code that and a party that I wasn't invited to until I met not met, but discovered writers like Langston Hughes and Maya Angelou and Nikki Giovanni and, you know, County Cullen. And then poets began to speak my language. And I think that's where I began to develop my poetic voice. Everything I write, I read out loud, so it has to sound a certain way. I pay a lot of attention to page breaks, to line breaks, especially in picture books, because, so I think my picture books are poems. I think of them as poems. And Another Brooklyn is definitely, I tried to overlay this poetic element to the book. So I was paying a lot of attention to white space and to how each line stood on its own and mattered, but was also a part of a longer narrative.
So fascinating that you read it out loud, because we don't have the impression that many writers actually do that. Is that, you know, what that voice part of it? I mean, you really are talking about your voice and how this is going to sound to.
Yeah, and also how it's going to feel in the world, right? When I speak it, it becomes true in this way, and it's out in the world. And once you write the book, it's out in the world for the world to consume as they will. And I think it makes me feel safer to hear it. I also learned to read. It was very oral for me. You know, I had to hear things to begin to understand them, get a deeper understanding of them. And so hearing, I do listen to audiobooks. I also read, but there is something about the experience of hearing the work in the world that allows me to see it more clearly.
And probably why it's so effective and so compelling to your readers, young and older, you know, like the senior citizen here, you know, who I felt that, you know, that was just such a true, you know, girl friendship book, you know, really incredible. I do want to say that including among these awards that you are acquiring, you now have what probably is the Nobel for young people's literature. It's the Astrid Lindgren Award, and you're going to Sweden to pick it up.
Going to Sweden to pick up my award.
As we record this, it'll be, you know, at the end of May.
Yes.
And not only do they give you a fancy, I'm sure, plaque or statue or something like that, but the
Queen gives it to me.
The Queen of Sweden. You also get something like $600,000. That's a pretty neat, for a writer.
Yeah.
That's an astonishing award.
Yes, 5 million kronos it is in Sweden.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a huge award. I mean, I'm still kind of like, wow. I think I'm the first person of color to get it. I think there have been other Americans. I'm not sure who they are. But it is, and I'm already, I want to start an artist colony for young artists of color. So I'm figuring out what the next step is if the universe gives you this chunk of money you're not expecting. Right. How do you put it back into the universe? You know, for me, it's a message from the ancestors. Go do something with this that's going to create legacy.
So we always ask our guests to place themselves in Black America, and we know that the major part of that is Brooklyn. You write about it all the time, but how do you fit into Black America, do you feel?
In the context of who I am,
who you are, your influences, who.
So I think you know, I wouldn't be sitting here if James Baldwin hadn't been writing, if Audre Lorde hadn't been writing, if Mildred Taylor hadn't been writing. Like, I feel Virginia Hamilton. I feel like there's so many writers who've kind of set this path for me through the words they've written. And I feel like I'm part of a continuum of the Black experience through literature. And the speaking truth to power and the disrupting a narrative that for too long in history was not considered to be for us or about us, or written by us. And so I feel like where I am right now is exactly where I'm supposed to be because of the paths that other writers set before me.
Yeah, we have an interview that you did with Carla Hayden at the Library of Congress, a first Black woman who is director, is the librarian for the country. Let's take a look at that, and we'll talk on the other side.
My favorite book was called Bright April, and it was the first time that I could see myself in a book. little girl, she was brown, she had pigtails, all of that. And you talk about not seeing yourself reflected, and that's why Miracle's Boys was one of the books that people said, wow, I see myself. What's that mean to see yourself?
Well, I think it's so important, looking back on the work of Dr. Redeem Sims Bishop, who talks about the importance of young people having both mirrors and windows. So they have books where they can look in and see a brown girl or a young Latin boy or an Asian girl, and see some part of their identity in the book. And that's a mirror, and it makes them aware of their presence in a bigger world. And I think we also talk about books having windows, so you see into other worlds. And for me as a young person growing up, I had many, many windows into white worlds and very few books where young kids of color were reflected on the pages.
Well, and you have fixed that. So, I love in Brown Girl Dreaming, you're writing about following an older sister who was considered to be brilliant, you know, and you show up in the grades behind her. And talk a little bit about that, your family configuration and having this older sister that you had to live up to.
So I am the third of 4 children, and I have an older brother, an older sister, and a younger brother. And my sister Odella was always, you know, getting the accolades, teachers were always trying to get my mom to let her be skipped a grade, which is what they did at the time. And but just on and on and on praise, and probably by far the smartest kid in the school. You know, and not even to hear my sister tell it, to hear the teachers tell it. And then I would come along the next year, because we're very close in age, and they'd be very excited about another Woodson in the class, and about 3 months in, they'd realize the genetic makeup was a little different.
Well, different.
It was, you know,
still brilliance, but in a totally different way.
But interesting, I think the thing was that the brilliance wasn't recognized. And I think that I definitely believe we all have a brilliance, and mine was my passion for writing. And I think what I learned is how important it is for teachers to see their students. Like, they were looking at me and they were looking for something different. They weren't looking for the brilliance that I had. You know, they were looking for an academic brilliance because that's what they knew, and that's what they had seen in a Woodson child. And they had this idea that all Woodson children were the same. And we're not, you know, all children are not the same. And eventually they recognized my passion, and my passion was for writing. And through recognizing my passion, they began to see that brilliance, that, you know, that brilliance that I was bringing to the table.
Right, right. And you also had a knack for, well, what most folks would call lying, right?
Yes.
And that which led to your storytelling, once channeled in the right direction. I mean, and I also love that one of your first written masterpieces was on the wall of a building, which got you into considerable trouble, at least with your folks.
Yes, yes, they were not having me write graffiti. But, you know, it's so interesting because, you know, I was trying to see my name in the world, right? If you really want to deconstruct it and you think about all the graffiti artists of the 70s and 80s and how powerful that work was for those who could see it as art, and how now it's all gone around New York.
Right, I know. Such a shame washing those walls. I love that when finally a teacher said to you, yeah, you know, Jackie, that was really good. You know, something that you were written at. As she said, that phrase came out of the otherwise downturned lips of my 5th grade teacher. I was well on my way to understanding that a lie on the page was a whole different animal, one that won you prizes and got surly teachers to smile. A lie on the page meant lots of independent time to create your stories and the freedom to sit hunched over the pages of your notebook without people thinking you were strange, you know. So that crystallization, that moment of what you're doing is worthwhile.
Yeah, yeah, it's huge. And you know, my wish is for young people to have it every day. You know, I think there's so many young people who don't get that moment of recognition, whose brilliance isn't getting seen and channeled and supported. So, I was lucky. I mean, I was lucky enough to be in the place, in the moment, with the teacher who could see it.
Now, you have an equation that we're going to put it up so people can see it, because my daughter was telling me this morning that my granddaughter was actually doing this in school, because you're encouraging kids to create their, their own equation. And yours is reading
equals hope times change.
Right. And what's your equation? And so the third grade was doing this reading season, as they were, had some massive, how many books can you read competitions.
Oh my goodness, I discourage the competitions because I always say it takes us a long time to write these books. Do not read them quickly. Like, take your time, learn from us. You learn to write by reading, right? And the slower you read, the more you're going to pick up about how and what the author is doing. So, but that's my equation. Reading equals hope times change.
Right.
Which is a play on words too, right? We hope times change, and continue to change. And but reading, when you go to a book, looking for that hope and are bringing that hope to it. And when you close the book, you're different than you were when you open that book. Something shifts in you, and sometimes that shift creates you to go on and create change.
So now you say read it slowly because it takes us a long time to write. How long does it take you?
Brown's Girl Dreaming took me about 3.5 years and 33 revisions before I stopped counting. Another Brooklyn took me about 2.5 years, 3 years maybe, and then a lot of rewriting. I mean, page by page rewriting. It really depends on the book, but yeah, we go into years. I'm usually working on more than one book at a time.
Right. Well, I heard that you wrote one book in 2 weeks.
Yes, I hadn't meant to tell you this was the name of that book, and I thought I was going to be able to do that forever. And the next book was Miracles Boys, which took 4 years.
4 years. Yeah. All right, 2 weeks and 4 years. So writers should not despair.
Excuse me.
And I also told that you write on the sides of your.
Yes.
So just take us through your day of writing.
So I write sideways, and I think that maybe.
What does that mean, sideways?
That means when I write, I have to hold the book like this. And I bat lefty, I shoot lefty. I do a bunch of stuff, one on the left side or right side of the brain. And I think that I might have been lefty at one point in my life, and that got cured, but not quite. And usually I always have ideas in my head. Like I'm always having the characters move through my head, and I'm trying to figure them out. I start writing when I have a sense of who I'm writing about. I just finished a book called Harbor Me, and it's about 6 kids, and I had to figure them all out in my head constantly before I could start writing them.
These kids are exploring current obstacles, challenges, events to their being inducted into this country and feeling that they belong here. Tell us about the.
So exactly. Harbor Me is about 6 kids in a 6-to-1 class, and they live in Crown Heights in Brooklyn, and there are a number of things going on in their life, and their teacher takes them to the old art room for an hour at the end of on every Friday, and leaves them there and says, "Here's the place where you can talk. Just talk about everything and know that this is a safe space." And then she leaves them to talk. But
so you're creating all of their conversation.
Yes,
take on the world,
and they talk a lot. Some of them talk more than others, but they talk a lot. And I think kids have a lot to say about now. I think sometimes we don't realize how aware of this moment kids are. And for me, that book was an exploration of what kids are dealing with.
Yeah, I was thinking about you and the Parkland kids, as a matter of fact, in terms of what they went through and who they became, so many of them, just frontline activists.
Yeah. And, Black Lives Matter, too. Those are young people who are showing up, and the kids who walk out of schools for gun control. Like, I've always had this deep respect, I can't say it enough, for young people and the way they've shown up. And when you look at the civil rights movement, the kids' march, the children's march, it's always been the young people who kind of look at us and say, you know what, I'm taking this on now because you guys are messing it up.
Right.
And I have their backs deeply because they're going to be the world changers. You know, the stuff we couldn't get done, I think Parkland kids are going to get done. I think, and our kids who are walking out of schools are going to get done. So, and hopefully the dreamers are going to get stuff done. Like, so.
Right. We'll talk about changers. You have a Vanity Fair cover piece.
Yes.
Lena Waithe, who certainly has changed Hollywood. Talk a little bit about that. You know, the sitting down to talk with her.
I love Lena. She's so true. And she was actually, she and her fiance Alana were at our house for dinner on Sunday night. And my son is just so in love with her. I should have gotten a picture of him and the two of them together, because now all he wears is baseball caps and gold chains and just loves her. But she is changing the face of Hollywood. She's the first Black woman to win an Emmy as a comedy writer. She's the first out lesbian to win. She wore a beautiful outfit to the Met Gala, and she's directing, she's writing, she's producing, she's acting.
Didn't she start out as a coffee girl for Ava DuVernay or something?
Ava tells it that she did everything. Like,
right.
She was like, what do you need me to do? I'll do it. Because she's thirsty. She was hungry for her getting her foot in the door of Hollywood, and she was willing to work hard. And it's such a juxtaposition to the young people who are like, wait, I've been here 3 days and I'm not manager,
right,
you know? And
exactly.
So she is doing something different and saying, no, I'm gonna work as hard as I can. And I can text her at 9 o'clock on, you know, a Saturday morning, and she'll text me right back. And she's in LA, and I'm like, do you sleep? Like, but she's hardworking and fabulous. I love her.
Well, I'm a little bit addicted to the Shy, although I must say that I get so upset, you know, because she tells talk about true, real story there, and not often, you know, happy-go-lucky either. So I'm like, come on, Lena, let's have some, you know, light stuff. You know, no. She's deeply into the. So it's Showtime. Mm-hmm. So for those, if you haven't seen it, you can watch the entire thing from its beginning.
Yeah,
got picked up
for a second season, which is great, because there is comic relief, though. There are moments where I love the kids.
Oh,
right?
I know.
They're just, some of the stuff coming out of their mouth just cracks me up. And I love the thing, you know, in Vanity Fair, I write about, she said her mother let her watch as much television as she wanted to, as long as she didn't repeat what she heard and do what she saw. Right. I just thought that was so
great advice. Right? Yeah. So just keep it all in, you know, for your creative work. So speaking of creative, you have Carla Hayden at the Library of Congress. Mm-hmm. You have Tracy K. Smith, who's the Poet Laureate.
Yes.
We have you, Poet Laureate, and Lisa Lucas at the National Book Foundation. So what is this sudden burst of Black women who are in literature?
You know, I think we've always been in a literature, right? I think the bodega doors open and they're like, let's do some shifting here, and here are some people who can help us with our shifting. I think that none of us, I mean, Dr. Carla Hayden was the head of Enoch Pratt Library in Baltimore for many, many years, and was a phenomenal librarian. I first met her when she was there. And then Tracy K. Smith has been writing poetry forever and breaking ground with her poetic work and her memoir. And you know, I've written, 30-something books now. And now for me, it's like, and Lena is nonstop.
Right.
And so it is that, it's about time the work got the recognition that it's been deserving for so long. And when I was interviewing Ava DuVernay for the article, she's like, you know, it's a moment, but we can't call it a movement yet, right? Because it's too short. It's not enough people, like for the four of us, there are 40 more
Right.
who are, you know, equally or not more qualified, who haven't been able to get their foot in the door or get that kind of recognition. But it's exciting. That's not to say it's not exciting, and it's not to say it's not great for everyone,
right.
that Carla's the head of the Library of Congress, or that Tracy K. Smith is the poet laureate, or that, you know, I'm the National Ambassador of Children's Literature, or that Lena's won an Emmy. So.
Right, right. So that's a lot of. I love the conversation you were having with Tracy K. Smith in the New York Times about the outreach that you're doing, because that really is the next step. You're going to use your funds from your award, your Lindgren Award, to start an artists' colony, but recommending books and having enough books, and you know, because I was just looking for books for my grandson.
Yeah.
We have girls in the house, and you know, I found an author that you recommend, you know.
Jason.
Yes, so, you know, talk to us a little bit about that, of the work that you're doing in prisons and everywhere you
Prisons, juvenile detention centers, community centers. I'm going into Title I schools. I was just in a juvenile detention center in Alabama, because I was there for the Equal Justice Initiative Summit.
Right,
that was,
right, my hometown, yeah,
yes.
yeah, right, that's great.
Phenomenal. Oh,
Right.
man, we overtook your hometown. They did not know what
That's
was
what I
coming.
heard. That's
Yeah,
what I heard.
yeah. People were running out of everything. So it was,
That's great.
it was phenomenal. I took the whole family, and then the family came home, and I stayed and went to visit a couple of schools and juvenile detention centers. And I'm trying to get into the places where people haven't met authors, haven't met national ambassadors, haven't had a chance to talk about their own writing in this kind of way, and haven't had a chance to really gather and really talk literature. Even things like, well, what can I read next?
Right.
You know, or I read this book, Monster by Walter D. Myers, and he told the story of my life. Oh, I knew Walter D. Myers, and here's what he said about that book. And I think it's empowering, especially in this moment in time where books are being censored in prisons.
Sure.
Like, you know, books are powerful, and the conversations we can have around them are powerful.
I'll talk about powerful. Your books are powerful. Jackie Woodson, we thank you so much for coming to Black America, and we hope you'll come back. Congratulations on Sweden, the Queen.
Thank you.
And before you go, give us a quick, we always ask our guests as we're closing, the power, the strength of Black America lies in. How would you phrase that?
I think the power and the strength of Black America lies in showing up.
Ah, I love it. I love it. Well, you certainly show up. Thank you, Jackie.
Thanks,
so great. And thank you all for joining us as well. Jackie Woodson is the author of Another Brooklyn, Brown Girl Dreaming, and 30-plus other books that you and your family can enjoy. I'm Carol Jenkins. The program is Black America. We'll see you the next time. Thanks.